Parshas Vayaishev. So Rameir from Premishlan, from which your ancestors, or some of your ancestors, come from Premishlan. As I've mentioned in previous talks, your Elta Zaid, I don't know exactly how many Eltas there are, was a Sheikh in Premishlan, which was a very Bekufa position, was in Premishlan. I don't know if it was the same time as Rameir. I doubt it. I think I assume it was afterwards, because it's still within the recollection of our previous door. Rameir was a couple of hundred years. Rameir, in those times, at the times when he lived, he brings down in this Maisa Bichel from Rameir, and we're going to use this Maisa to bring up a point from the Parsha. Jews found it difficult to make ends meet, but they managed as best as they could. Story of all of our generations. However, sometimes they couldn't resist an opportunity to make a fast buck. The Rosh Kol, which was the official title of the leader of the Jewish community, once landed a good contract with the army. He was to supply them with tobacco. He soon realized he had a golden opportunity. He would substitute some sawdust or other material in some of the sacks and collect his money at the rate of tobacco. Not a nice thing to do. This went on for some time. One day, however, he heard that an inspector was going to make an audit of his transactions. He knew he'd get caught stealing from the government and was panic-stricken. He came to Rameir to ask for his advice. It was Friday afternoon. He couldn't see the Rebbe until after Shabbos. Shabbos morning, he was quite pleased when the Rebbe had him called up for Shishi, the sixth Aliyah, usually reserved for an honored guest. Obviously not in our times. In our times it's Shlishi, but Shishi is pretty good. He was soon reminded, however, that the Rebbe was not easily fooled. The Rebbe was also the Baal Koreh, and he read the Torah each week himself. He stopped 3 psukim before the stop in the Chumash. This pasuk is the following pasuk. Here we go. Here's the pasuk. Vayikach Adna Yosef Oso, after he accused him of with his wife. Vayinei el beis habor, b'mokom asher asiri hamelech asur, vayihi sham b'beis hasohar. Vayihi sham b'beis hasohar. He describes how Potiphar had thrown Yosef into prison for allegedly having an affair with his wife. That's where Rameir stopped his laning, 3 psukim before the end of the Aliyah. The Rosh Kol realized that the Rebbe was decreeing his punishment, and that he too would be thrown into prison for his actions. The Rebbe motioned to the Rosh Kol to say the second bracha and finish the Aliyah, but he would not accept this decree. The Rosh Kol made with his hand, and he said, go on, that the Rebbe should continue the laning until the original stop. And the original stop ends with Ein sar beis hasohar, roeh es kol me'uma biyado, ba'asher Hashem ito, v'asher hu oseh Hashem matzliach. That all that he did, he succeeded with Hashem's help, indicating that he needed this bracha. After all, Rameir finally did continue the laning and stopped at that place. After Shabbos, Rameir called the Rosh Kol into his room and admonished him for getting himself into such a predicament. He could have gotten the whole community into trouble with his actions. He admonished him to be more careful with everything that he did, since he represented the Jewish community to the Goyim. The Rosh Kol accepted this reprimand and promised to watch his step from then on. The next day, the inspector told the Rosh Kol that he had to postpone his audit, since he had been ordered to another area for a different inspection. And the last pasuk of the parsha is V'lo zachar sahamashkim es Yosef ayishkachehu, which actually is appropriate to this story. The Sahamashkim forgot about Yosef, which is a very negative pasuk, telling us he had no hakaras hatoiv, and he forgot the nice Pesora Tova that Yosef gave him, plus the chizuk that he gave him, and he forgot him. This is a very good pasuk for people in trouble who are being attacked by someone, and we say this pasuk, including myself, to say that they'll forget about us and move along to a different area. So those are a couple of good psukim, some of which I say on a weekly basis. I thought I said on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis, machnish and it means Hashem, they can help us in an Eis Sorah. The best Eis Sorah thing to keep in mind is Ein Oid Milvado, which I've said to you before, and I still believe, and I still hold very stark, is the right answer for all of our Tzoros. Ein Oid Milvado, all of the efforts that we do for Eretz Yisrael, all the efforts that the people around the world do for Eretz Yisrael, will only help if HaKadosh Baruch Hu uses them as his shliach. We have to understand that it's all coming from him, and we have to continue to work on ourselves, that we have to do tshuva, and that we should cause that to cause our ultimate Yeshua and Geula Shlema. Bye bye.